Well, good morning, guys, and thank you for joining us here on Coffee with Chris. This is our sixth episode of this. We do it in along with our regular videos we put out throughout the week, and it's just a way for us to kind of have a Q&A, have an open dialogue, a talk on both sides of the camera. And thank you for joining us. And if you're a lady watching the show or watching the video this morning, and you're a mom, you're a grandma, stepmom, um, anything like that, happy Mother's Day. We certainly thank you for your time, your sacrifice, your effort in raising kids and everything that you do that comes with being a mom and how important it is. So happy Mother's Day from More Than Sawdust to you, and thank you so much for joining us. If you're not a lady watching the video, happy Mother's Day to you too. If you got a mom around you or near you today, make sure you take good care of them. Be nice to them. That's important as well. Well, man, let's hop right into it. Before we get going on our topic for the week, I've been asking you guys to send in builds and projects and things you're working on so we can share them and celebrate the creativity and the skill and things that's going on. And so here's my email address down below. Send me stuff in, guys. Keep sending stuff. I want to share it, check it out, and let everybody see what you're doing. We do have one submission for this week. It's from a gentleman named Chad Matthews. He sent us 3 different projects he's working on. Similar type of thing, but 3 different ones. And so put those on the screen here. And he says, hey, this is Chad Matthews, and these are a few of the projects I've been working on. He said they are freehand cut with a router and a 1/16 inch router bit. Said most of the woodworking I do is to replace all the furniture pieces in our house with handmade furniture. So obviously that's on a big scale there, Chad. Send some of those in. We'd love to see the furniture pieces you're working on, man. That's up my alley. It's stuff I'm really interested in. So, man, send those in too. We'd love to celebrate those. But he says these 2 signs with the flags are Live Edge Cherry. And they go with a folded flag project that he made. And then the coffee cup with the whinge inlay for the coffee look is in the cup. That's a Mother's Day gift that he's getting for his wife. So I guess she's getting that today. Hopefully it's done, Chad. But yeah, so man, these all look really good. I think I told you on my response that hand cutting these, I've certainly watched a lot of videos with guys hand routing signs and pictures and things like this. I know there's a company out there called, I think it's makeasign.com, and they sell specific tools. This is what they do. They hand route signs, and they sell bits and accessories for, man, every kind of brand of router out there just for this very thing, to do hand routing. I've watched a lot of them. I've thought about doing some of them. In fact, we even talked at one time last year about getting into making signs for our craft fairs and vendor shows. And but the only way at the time I would have been able to do them was through hand routing. And I never got around to it because it kind of intimidated me. I'm not going to lie. So kudos to you, man, for having the patience and the focus and the concentration to do that. To me, those are all things I'm challenged with. So, but kudos for doing those and getting them done, man. They look great. Of course, I'm a little partial to the coffee one because it's one of my favorite things in life. But I won't be getting one of those for a Mother's Day gift. So I'm a little jealous that your wife's getting one. But man, great job. They look great. And keep up the good work, man, and keep sending us stuff in, man. We love seeing those type of things. And send those furniture pieces in too. But good job, Chad. Thank you for watching, my friend. Thank you for sending in, and we hope we get some more from you, bud. So let's get to our topic for the week. I'd asked you last week to comment and send me um, about your favorite tool in the shop, or the most important tool in your shop, or most valuable tool in your shop. And that could be because you use it the most. It could be maybe you had to invest the most in it, or it could be because it was something that got handed down from your grandfather. So it's just important. And so I've got three comments this week, and I want to kind of go through them with you and give you some thoughts. The first one's from our friends at Alden Elm Woodworking. Thank you so much for continued support, continuing to watch and comment and write in. Man, I look forward, you along with a couple others that have commented, I think, every video so far. And man, I look forward to getting your responses. And I certainly appreciate the dialogue and just kind of the camaraderie in our YouTube woodworking community. It says, "Hi Chris, I like your thoughts on being visible at shows. If you didn't see last week's show, that's one that we talked about. Is somebody asked about how to get people to come to your booth, your table when you're doing craft shows, and so I kind of gave some thoughts on that. It says the table saw is the most important tool in the shop. Its versatility puts it at the center of just about every project. From ripping and cross-cutting to basic joinery and repeatable cuts, it covers a lot of ground. When it is set up right, it drives efficiency across the whole project. Next would be the router. It also touches just about every project, whether it's for edge profiles, joinery, or cleanup work. You can make a wide range of projects with just these two tools." Man, I couldn't agree with you more on those. And I think I put in the comment when I responded to you, the router is something that when I first started doing the woodworking, it was basic woodworking. Again, that's how we all start off. And a router was really intimidating for me for some reason. And I bought one, and as I got using them, man, it's something I've really come to enjoy and really possibly become my favorite tool in the shop. And it's something, the more that I expand out my range of things that I make or I'm trying to make, you expand your skill level and stuff like that. That's a tool that you just use more and more and more. And I found myself pretty comfortable with it. Certainly, there's a lot of, you talked about joinery and some of those things like that, that you can get into, you never get to all that stuff. But man, yeah, the hand router, and then, as far as a table router goes, or having a router table, I've got an inexpensive kind of budget one, a skill one, but that's something that I've gotten more comfortable with, and I'm starting to use a little more and more, along with my hand router. And man, they are quickly becoming two of my favorite things to use, just for, not only I think they're fun, but the purpose, the way they clean up things, the way they really kind of add different elements to your projects. So man, I couldn't agree more on that. In fact, I've got a video hopefully coming out here in the next couple of weeks, where I'm going to be building a cabinet for my router table. Again, it's just we're going to kind of convert the skill one that I have, because I like the surface of it. It's in good shape. It's fairly new, and so we're going to convert that into like a cabinet that I can just be more predominant in the shop. A little easier to use than moving around, setting it on different workbenches and things like that. And plus, they'll give me some storage right there for all the bits. And I inherited a lot of bits from my father-in-law, and so I've got boxes and boxes of bits. Some of them aren't usable any longer, but I want to keep them. They're cool, and so that'd give me a place to store all those. And then, as I build up my collection of them over time. So keep an eye out for that video. As far as your table saw goes, man, I think a lot of people probably agree with you on that. A lot of people, that's the heart of the wood shop, right? Whether it's a big table saw, contractor style, or even a job site, or something like mine, where it's built into your main island, your main work surface, your workbench. And you're right, if it's set up correctly, man, so efficient. Even more important, if it's not set up correctly, one, it can be unsafe. I think we all can agree on that. And two, everything you cut's going to be wrong. And as we all know, when you're building a project, especially when you're talking about square, things being square, if the first piece is out of square, all of it's going to be messed up. And you're going to be fighting that thing tooth and nail the whole project. So Man, I could not agree with you more. Our next comment is from M. Blackford 100 and says, "Hi, Chris. I believe the most used tool in the shop would have to either be my drill drivers or my shop vac. You could probably rank nail guns and glue bottles in that as well. It doesn't matter what I'm doing when I'm out there. I have to fasten it together and clean up the mess. Ironically, those are also the tools I've replaced the most over my life as well." So when I got this comment, man, I just like had a light bulb go off above my big bald head. And it just, I almost wanted to change my answer. Because I was going to say router. That would be what I was going to say because I've grown to. It may not be what I use the most, but maybe my favorite thing to use. And but as far as important goes, man, those kind of essential tools that really even people that aren't woodworkers usually have a drill. Just DIY home repair handyman type of stuff. Somebody got you a kit for Christmas one year. A drill and a driver. I mean, I don't think we think about those because it's not maybe a large, doesn't take up a lot of room, or we don't, use it to make these big cuts and things like that. It's just a common tool that we use all the time. It's an essential. And then a shop vac. I think I want to change my answer to a shop vac because, man, I use a shop vac every day. I think we all do. Some of us got multiple of them. They're hooked up to different machines. They do different, serve different purposes. And on days when I'm not even making anything, when I'm not feeling creative or I'm feeling lazy or whatever, I probably still use my shop vac because those are the days I just piddle around in my shop and clean and vacuum stuff up and tidy up. And so, yeah, shop vac. Man, I can't argue with that one at all. Throwing the glue guns and the nail guns and the glue bottles in there with it. I got a question about glue bottles. Now I have glue bots, the glue bot. I've got a couple of them. I have tried everything. I've tried like ketchup squeeze bottles. I've tried all kinds of stuff. I can't find anything that doesn't clog, even when you put the lid on, all the stuff you're supposed to do, even my glue bot. It's not supposed to clog up like that. This is not going to be our topic for next week, but if anybody has any tips around glue bottles, I can't be the only one that gets aggravated at them. And so, man, send those in and I will put that in the video next week because there's got to be plenty of people that would love to know if you've got a tip or a trick about a glue bottle, keeping it from clogging up, keeping the flow good, keeping it from busting. Some of them just bust and, get cracks. As simple as that sounds, I'd love to know if anybody's just, hit the jackpot on a glue bottle. Yeah, and then those are the ones you got to replace. Well, yeah, they're the essentials, man. And so I wouldn't even have thought about those things. So that comment really kind of made me rethink that. I did a YouTube short video. It was one of the first videos I put on the channel. And I asked that question, what's the most important tool in your shop? And on that short video, I said my mini split unit that I have mounted up in the shop. And I may still stick with that. It's right there with the shop vac. I know a lot of people don't have temperature controlled shops. I didn't used to. And I know people that work in very cold climate areas of our country or very warm areas. And man, you dress up, dress down, do what you can to get out there and get your woodworking done or your hobby done. But I guess I've become spoiled to having it 70 to 73 year round. And that's the temperatures I'm comfortable at. And golly, I just don't think I'd want to get rid of that thing. If it ever goes out, I think I'll have to get another one. My wife may disagree with that, but I think I'd want to get another one. I think I've gotten spoiled. So I'm gonna piggyback. I'm gonna go shop vac and mini split unit. That's my final answer. Man, M. Blackford 100 and Alden M. Woodworking, you two have commented, I think, every week that we've been doing this, and you've even commented on some of my other videos. I want to thank you for your continued support, continue watching the channel, and I've enjoyed your input and your dialogue, And man, thank you so much, and hopefully you continue to do so. You guys always have great input. And then we've got I think it's the first time they've commented on for me. So Creative Maple Woodworks 4640. They say also, they gave me another comment apart from this topic. So it says, my most used tool in the shop is a crosscut sled. All right, we heard about a table saw. This is a crosscut sled. A month ago, I would have said my table saw. However, I recently had a catastrophic failure in my 40-year-old Grizzly cabinet saw. So I'm borrowing a friend's DeWalt contractor saw. It's not quiet or flat or powerful, easy or even pleasant to use. But I found that a really well-made crosscut sled makes up for many of the inadequacies. That being said, with 3 young kids in the shop, I'll be purchasing a saw stop this summer. So, I've never had the privilege of having a big contractor saw. I've never had a Grizzly or a Saw Stop or, one of the large Craftsman's or Delta or any of those like that. So, I may not know what I'm missing. I know I drool over some of the table saws, and in my shop tour video, which the shop's quite a bit different now than it was in the video in terms of the way it looks. Same tools, same equipment, but I mentioned that I've just never had a need for anything more than what I've got. I had an old Craftsman saw. It broke down right when we were starting this whole woodworking journey thing, the beginning of 2025, and so Lowe's had some sales on some. I bought a Cobalt. It had the rack and pinion fence, the ones that they had, and they had some on sale. It was the best deal I could find. And so budget friendly, that's what we went with. I've enjoyed it. I haven't had any issues with it. Maybe somebody that's had a bigger, nicer saw, they, going down to something like that, they may be like, whew. But for what I've done so far, it's worked out really well. Now at some point down the line, I probably wouldn't mind having a larger one for sure to handle some bigger projects and things like that, something a little more power to it, but mine has been great for what I've wanted so far. I will tell you though, it's funny you mentioned it being an older Grizzly. I actually saw one on Facebook Marketplace here not too far from my house in my area a few days ago, and it had a pretty good price on it. Just need a little cleanup. I'm assuming it worked. They said it did. Man, I was tempted. I was tempted to inquire about it, and but just again, currently don't have a need for anything different than what I got. But I want to get back to the crosscut sled thing. You're absolutely right. I actually just built a crosscut sled last week. I say I built it. I bought a kit. That's why I didn't make a video out of it. I bought a kit online that had the runners and those sort of things, and I just added the plywood to it. And but nonetheless, yeah, you're right. Not only does it add a lot of functionality to any of the saws, whether they're a less expensive one or a bigger one or whatever brand, doesn't matter. They do add a lot of functionality and they add a lot of safety. And so yeah, the crosscut sled is again something I wouldn't have thought about as an important tool, an accessory and a tool. And of course, there's a billion ways you can build those. You can buy them already pre-made from I think Craig and a bunch of other different companies. Or you can certainly just build it from scratch. And some people I know have got a bunch of different ones, and they all do different things. I've got a few different types of sleds that I use for different things. And so, man, crosscut sled, that's a really good one. And just as a side note, you mentioned getting a saw stop this summer just for the safety functions of it. And I mean, certainly can't blame you there. People that have them swear up and down by them. And so I'd love to know when you get that, what you think, how it works. How is it different apart from the safety features with the finger safety? But apart from that, how's it different than your Grizzly that you had before? Obviously, that was a saw you're very acquainted with. And so I'd love to know that when you get it. Just send me an email or something on the side or comment on whatever. And I think that'd be cool to know. And man, another side note, you got your 3 little ones running around the shop with you, like you mentioned. Enjoy that. When they get to be, 19 or 20 like mine and gone off to college and not living in the house, or even my 15-year-old that has no interest in woodworking. I got to beg him to come help me do anything out there. Um, Man, maybe you can get them hooked on it early, and they'll want to do that with with you the whole time. So that would be fantastic. What a better way than to create and build with your kids and your spouse, your family, anybody. That's all I got on the topic for this week, guys. Now the topic for next week, something kind of controversial. Are you ready? You guys know I've talked for several times, several weeks about getting into this laser engraver that I purchased 4 months ago. It's been built, sitting in my office. Haven't fired it up or anything yet. Haven't even learned the software to do it. It's just something I haven't got around to. A little intimidated by it again, and but I'd planned on getting into it this week and really sitting down and learning it and working on trying to learn some stuff about it. I didn't get that happening, so hoping next week. But my question involves a laser engraver, a CNC, those pieces of equipment. Is that woodworking? And that may be kind of crazy to ask that, but I've seen a lot of opinions on this over the last many years, because CNCs have become such a big part of the woodworking industry. People selling on Etsy. I mean, most of the stuff on there is probably made by CNCs, because you can produce a lot of stuff at one time. They can cut things out. You can laser engrave anything to customize for clients and buyers, makes it more appealing. When I first started doing this at the beginning of 2025, we had some craft fairs we were doing, and it's the same company that puts on most of the ones we go to. And sometimes there's more than one other woodworking booth, but there's always one other guy at all of them. And we have some similar products, but he has a small CNC, a small laser engraver. He even brings them and sets them up in his booth, and he can engrave things or make things right there on the spot. And I used to say, I said, I'm never going to do that because I want to be a woodworker. I want to build it with my hands. And I was like, that's not even woodworking. But the further I've gone along in it, I've had so many requests to be able to customize products that we sold. And from a sales standpoint, to me, it really makes sense. But some people don't think it's working with your hands. I mean, it's a tool. A CNC, a laser engraver, they're tools. They're a little higher tech tools than what a saw would be, or a drill or a driver or the other tools we use all the time, but it is a tool. And so I really want to know, is this technology stuff, those items, and there's other things out there certainly similar, is that woodworking? Is it woodworking if you do some of it with your hands and then you use the laser engraver or the CNC for part of the project? What do you think? I'm really curious. I've seen some hot debates on other videos, the comments, about, is this kind of stuff actually woodworking? Is it ruining woodworking because it's making it possible for people that literally make things using manual tools with their hands to keep up with people that can just mass produce stuff with big CNCs and things like that? I don't really have a big opinion one way or the other, so I want to know if you do. Let me know what you think. Technology and woodworking. How does that go together? Well, guys, that's about it. Again, if you're watching this and it pertains to you, happy Mother's Day. And we certainly thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.